My name's Gillian Stephen and I'm a careers advisor and work for Skills Development Scotland, SDS, Scotland's skills agency and career service. This webinar, What Have I Got to Offer, will cover everything you need to know about how to identify your skills, strengths and achievements and help you describe them with confidence as part of the job search process. The session is based on section 2 of the Positive Steps to Your Future handbook, which can be accessed electronically by visiting www.skillsdevelopmentscotland.co.uk, clicking on Publications and Statistics and search using the keywords Positive Steps. You may find it useful to take notes during the session, so do have a pen and paper handy. Recognising your skills, strengths and achievements is a vital part of achieving success in the job market. This webinar will help you identify what you have to offer. Communicating what you have to offer is key to accessing opportunities, for example by producing the CV or application form that gets you to interview, and of course during an interview itself. We have some tips on how to communicate your achievements. We'll look at what employers are looking for in a candidate for a job. Knowing what an employer wants allows you to check if you have what's necessary to do the job well. And finally, we'll help you to think about how you can fill any gaps between what you have to offer and what an employer might want. Some of you may have already started to think about what you have to offer. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is not at all aware of your skills and how to communicate them, and 10 is completely aware, where are you at the moment? Take a moment to consider this, where you are on the scale, and note the number. Most people tend to underestimate their abilities. Things we do all the time may seem simple, but in reality often represent a high level of skill or require a lot of knowledge. We can often get bogged down in our day-to-day tasks and find it difficult to see the bigger picture of all these things that we have to offer. Customers often tell us that they understand the importance of knowing their skills but find it difficult to identify them. So let's look first at what makes up your skill set. Skills are a combination of things. Knowledge. So for example, if you have a background in financial services, then you're likely to have in-depth knowledge of that industry, its regulations and specific products like credit cards or mortgages. Attitudes. How motivated are you in the workplace? For example, by getting involved in new projects or taking on extra tasks. Character, well, this can include things like your sense of humour or your tact or diplomacy at work in difficult situations. And skills, well, these can be technical, industry-specific skills such as coding or welding, or transferable skills that are useful in any role and any workplace, including skills like communication and teamwork. Strengths are things which can be quite personal to you. You may be strong at public speaking or organising events. Experience includes what you've done in previous jobs and volunteering, your qualifications and training you've completed. A good way to start identifying your skills is to think about your current or most recent job. Is there a job description? Can you get one? If not, can you find a job description for a similar job online? This could be on a job vacancy site or maybe a job profile on a careers website. What skills are mentioned in the job description? Which did you use? What were you strongest at? Section 2 of the Positive Steps Handbook has information and activities that support with identifying what you have to offer. And there's more at www.myworldofwork.co.uk. It's useful to register with the site to get the most out of it. Thinking about what you have to offer isn't necessarily a quick task and isn't one that you have to carry out alone. Trusted friends, family or colleagues may be able to highlight some of your key skills. A careers advisor can also support you with identifying skills, strengths and so on. You've got nothing to lose by speaking to a professionally qualified advisor with your interests at heart. And we're available by calling 0800 917 8000, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. There's a lot of different terminology around skills, and I want to mention meta skills. When we talk about meta skills, we are talking about the higher level skills that we have as humans that set us apart from machines and computers. Skills that allow us to adapt and focus, communicate and collaborate, be creative and curious. And the good news is that these are the skills that will allow all of us to develop and adapt to the demands of jobs of the future alongside the changes that are taking place in technology. For some people, their next opportunity may be self-employment, but you don't need to run your own business to utilise entrepreneurial skills to help you succeed. Entrepreneurial Scotland Foundation is an independent charity that believes that entrepreneurial skills, mindset and connections are important, and that Scotland's future will be shaped by those who think, act and lead in an entrepreneurial way. It's skills such as being curious. The ability to spot problems and create solutions can come from being curious about people and how things work, and being able to step outside the comfort zone of normal thinking. Being disciplined, knowing how to use your time, is an essential skill for entrepreneurs, but being good at prioritising and setting milestones is a useful skill for all of us. Being strategic, seeing the bigger picture, helps you hone in on the specific things that need attention. Being creative is linked to prioritising and discerning where best to concentrate your efforts. Being resilient, rolling with the blows, learning from failures are essential qualities of an entrepreneur. When you are making choices and taking opportunities, not all will turn out exactly the way you want, but being able to bounce back from setbacks can be key for anyone's success in life and work. We live in a world of uncertainty, so setbacks can give us an opportunity to learn and become better. Being expressive. A core skill of an entrepreneur is the ability to sell their vision. By being concise and impactful in your communication, you can get your point of view across in a way that will be heard. Being confident, networking with strangers, and building connections and contacts are key career management skills and needn't be left to entrepreneurs. You can use these skills too. It might seem that changes in technology are moving so fast that it's hard to keep up. But the good news is that these human skills, the meta and entrepreneurial skills we can all develop, are vital for the future of the world of work. Let's now consider transferable skills, which are the kinds of skills employers love to see. They can come from any situation, including work, volunteering, hobbies and home life. The key thing is that you can take them with you from one work environment to the next. In this example, you can see my colleague Paul's career journey from call centre to retail to admin before becoming a careers advisor. The job roles have a number of transferable skills in common: customer service, communication, attention to detail, organisation and prioritisation. All of these skills being transferred across to different job roles with different employers. We can also see the steps taken between roles in order to fill gaps and be able to make the move from one job to the next. In order to move from the call centre to retail, Paul needed some experience, so they volunteered in a charity shop. Volunteering is a great way to try something new, gain new skills and broaden your horizons before making a commitment to a big change. For Paul, the voluntary work led to a paid retail assistant role in the charity shop. Between the retail and admin roles, we can then see a period of career planning and self-reflection. Research suggests that it takes roughly 2 years to go from deciding to change career to actually making the change. Our Facing Change, Embracing Change webinar covers ways to make positive change in your life and work. So do check it out on the YouTube playlist if you haven't already. Paul's career journey did take some time as he sought out more voluntary work to test the water, then took up a postgraduate course and changed jobs to one which fit round the course before taking up a careers advisor role with Skills Development Scotland. Paul's still using some of those transferable skills today, along with lots of new ones they picked up along the way. So, while each of these jobs is in different industry sectors, banking, retail, the NHS, and now Skills Development Scotland, the same transferable skills come into play. And as they went along, Paul was building up a network of people to help them make the move from one role to the next. So if you'd like to talk to a careers advisor about your transferable skills and how to make the move to a new role, then get in touch on our helpline on 0800 917 8000. Here's another example of transferable skills. The jobs of hospitality manager and HGV driver may seem quite different. When Martha arranged to speak to a careers advisor at Skills Development Scotland, she had a long background in hospitality, but was now facing redundancy and looking for a change. She was aware of the driver shortages and knew of vacancies in her area, but first she wanted to make sure she was a good fit for the job and it would be the right move for her. It's important to be aware that even if you have the relevant training or license for a job, you also need to be able to demonstrate you have the other skills required through your experience. Through discussion, the careers advisor was able to draw out Martha's transferable skills and make clear in her CV that these could be carried across from hospitality to driving. And as you can see on the slide, the roles have a number of skills in common. It's just a case of applying them in a different environment. It's important not just to recognise your transferable skills, but to communicate them as well. To employers, past experience is the best predictor of future success. So for example, this client had strong customer service skills from hospitality, and there's no reason why these customer service skills can't be used in a driving job. In this example, there was training that Martha needed to undertake, and we were able to discuss the training and funding options available based on her circumstances. It's sometimes quite difficult to identify your skills and transferable skills, so let's move on to how you get started. As mentioned, a careers advisor can help you identify your skills by exploring with you your previous experience and your future job and career goals. You can also use the skills discovery tool on My World of Work to help you. Simply enter your current and previous job roles, including any voluntary work, and you'll receive a skills report based on your experience. You can then use the information when you're job seeking to highlight the relevant skills to an employer in your applications and your CVs. You can use the skills information at job interviews too. Another aspect of what you have to offer is your strengths. So what are strengths and why are they different to skills? Skills can be learned, but strengths are the things you're naturally good at. You will find that when you're good at something, it will be easier to carry out tasks and use that strength. In addition, it's likely that you will become more engaged in an activity and tend to perform better. The more you use your strength, the more confident you become in your ability. Everyone brings their own individual strengths, so yours may be very different to someone else's. An employer will need a range of strengths in a team or workforce, so it's really important that you know what yours are and that you reference them in your CV and applications. By identifying and communicating your strengths, you can show an employer how you have applied these in the workplace previously and how you will apply them in the workplace in a new role. This shows the employer the benefit they will get from employing you. It's not enough to say I'm a strong team player. You must evidence this with an example of when you've worked successfully in a team and the benefit this brought, such as increased sales or positive customer feedback. If you're unsure of what your strengths are, try using the Strengths tool on myworldofwork.co.uk. You'll need to register with this site to access the tool. So what do employers want from job applicants? Knowing what an employer wants allows you to check if you have what is necessary to do the job well. On this example of a person specification from a job vacancy listing, you can see how the employer has set out the essential and desirable attributes that they're looking for applicants to have. So we've got qualifications, experience and skills. And in order for your application to this role to be considered, you need to demonstrate that you have all of the essential attributes and as many of the desirable attributes as you can. But how can you go about doing that if you haven't taken the time to reflect on what you have to offer? There are a lot of points in this job listing that applicants must be able to evidence. And if you aren't clear on what you have to offer, then the employer isn't going to be clear in that either. What's also important is how you go about describing that you have the attributes the employer requires. It's not enough to just say that you've got strong attention to detail. You have to be able to back this up with an example. So let's move on and look at how you can do this. As well as knowing what you have to offer, it's important to be able to communicate what you have to offer. Identifying and describing your achievements to an employer demonstrates that you can apply your skills, knowledge and strengths in a workplace. A good way to think about this is to use marketing theory. After all, you are the product that you need to sell or market to the employer. Well, think about this in terms of features and benefits. So what are your features? Well, as a salesperson selling to a customer, you need to know what the customer, or employer in this case, is in the market for. What are their requirements for this job vacancy? And to do this, you need to analyse the job vacancy advert, the person's specification, and research the company. An example of when you have demonstrated your features could be, I maintained the company's filing system. Now, this example is a statement of facts. They are useful, but how do you show the employer that you can add value? What benefits can you bring to the organisation? An employer doesn't want to just read a list of your skills in the way that a customer doesn't just want a list of what a product can do. They want to know what benefits you are bringing. To convert features into benefits, it's useful to ask the question, so what? And an example could be, I streamlined the company's filing system, making it more efficient and easily accessible, saving the company approximately £6,000 in temp costs and staff time. Take a moment to consider the difference. Turning your features into benefits can really help to sell yourself to employers. Think as an employer, which would you be more attracted to? A description of the features or a description of the added value that you'll bring to the employer? In other words, the benefits. Where possible, you should try to add statements which are tangible or quantifiable. In other words, give the employer facts and figures, and this will give them a better picture of your performance. It can be helpful to use examples such as increased sales, reduction in company costs, more streamlined processes, or better standards of customer care. And remember that features tell, but benefits sell. Well, so far in this webinar, we've looked at how to identify and describe your skills, strengths and achievements. But how do you know what's missing? Is there a way to find out what you don't know? Take a moment to consider how this could be achieved. This can seem tricky, but there's a few easy ways to address this. As an advisor, I would use job descriptions found in vacancy sites, for example, Indeed, or job profiles on career sites such as My World of Work to help my customers identify the kind of experience, skills and qualifications that are required. This is your checklist for identifying any gaps. What kind of tasks are associated with the job? Do you have this experience, even if it's from a different sector? Remember, lots of skills and experience is transferable. Are you missing any skills? What about the kind of training or qualifications employers like to see? Have you got these? You don't need to be applying for jobs to do this. Just have a look at the information that's there and start filling those gaps so you're as ready as you can be for when you are making a career change. And secondly, have a think about how you might fill any gaps in your experience, skills or qualifications. Examples could be online learning, evening classes and voluntary work. Nowadays, people are expected to take responsibility for their own career development rather than depend on an employer to provide it. It's likely to be necessary to upskill now or in the future anyway, really, in order to remain employable in the long term. It can also be really helpful to speak to people in the job or sector that you're interested in. Ask them what would make you the ideal candidate. And if you don't know yet what options and opportunities you're interested in, then have a look at our webinar, Horizon Scanning. And of course, there's more useful information to be found on our website, myworldofwork.co.uk. By attending this webinar, we hope that you now feel you would like to explore and identify your own strengths, achievements and skills. Self-awareness and a better understanding of what you have to offer an employer is the first step toward finding a job you like. Once you've identified your strengths, the next step is to explore the type of job you'd like to do. By looking at where you are now and where you want to be, you can work out the steps you need to take in order to get there. As mentioned previously, you can find out lots more about exactly this in our webinar Horizon Scanning. At the beginning of this video, I asked you where you were on a scale of 1 to 10. What number would you give yourself now when it comes to your ability to identify your skills and communicate them effectively? Before we finish up, take a moment to consider your next steps. What is the first action that you'll take as a result of today's webinar? Take a moment to write down your thoughts. Now, this webinar links to section 2 of the Positive Steps to Your Future Handbook, and that's available to download from Skills Development Scotland's website, and it can be a useful reminder of what we have covered in this session today. And don't forget to try the Skills Discovery and Strengths tools on My World of Work too. Please remember that if you want to discuss your career ideas or you are feeling unsure about your next steps, please call our Skills Development Scotland helpline on 0800 917 8000, where one of our fully qualified and experienced careers advisors will be able to support you. You can also click on the link or scan the QR code on the screen to request a call. And if you prefer, you can meet a careers advisor face-to-face at one of our Skills Development Scotland career centres. Use the Find a Centre tool at www.myworldofwork.co.uk to access local support. You will also find lots of useful information on the website to help you consider your options and move on successfully. And if you've enjoyed this webinar, do watch the others in the series Positive Steps to Your Future, available on the My World of Work YouTube channel. Thank you and bye for now.